The sounds permeated throughout our family home, seeking innocent ears to enrapture. This was in the early 1970s, when a nightingale singing sweet words of melody fell upon my ears. It was my father's morning routine of shaving while listening to Radio Damascus. Although within the depths of a heavily urbanized city, I could hear the leaves bristling on the trees, swayed by the summer wind, as I gazed upon the endless perspective of the fruit-bearing meadows. The same cool breeze would gently blow across my cheeks, drawing me deeper into my hallucination. And there was a simple happiness to it all, a melody of laughter and innocence, but with a subtle sad undertone. This was not only music, but more akin to a magic. Something primitive in the voice resonated with so much familiarity and seemed fundamental to my existence. It was one moment of ecstasy flowing into another, all concocted by this mystical siren, carrying me far away into the countryside of another country, into another reality, a simpler time in a garden of light, air, and life. Her name is Nouhad Haddad, and her nation is Lebanon. It's difficult to speak of Fairuz without bringing up Lebanon in the same sentence. Not because it is the country of her birth, citizenship, and passion, but because their fates have been intertwined, mirrored for almost 9 decades. Would it be far-fetched to believe that her birth would be perfectly positioned between the establishment of the Republic of Lebanon in 1926 and its eventual independence in 1943? Or is it too much of a coincidence that the birth of a nation is one certain calendar day and the birth of its future icon would be the following calendar day? Not when we're talking about Lebanon and Fairuz. It's not a surprise at all. Would it amaze anyone that her ascension on both the local and international scene came within the same moments as the dawn of Lebanon's golden age? By 1958, both would appeal universally to any and everyone. Lebanon would be coined the Paris of the Middle East, and Fairuz, the Arab world's most beloved singer. Both captured the hearts, minds, and souls of the region, and even much further beyond. In the mid-1970s, Fairuz's marriage would collapse, ending both her personal and artistic collaboration with her then-husband, Asi Rahbani, and his brother Mansour. Lebanon, in turn, took to civil war, and a nation once united disintegrated into a religiously, politically, and ethnically driven violent pandemonium. 15 years later, 1990, signaled the end of the Lebanese Civil War, providing great hope for the rebuilding of a new nation out of the ashes of the old. Fairuz, echoing these new aspirations of the times, in 1991, reinvented her expressions with a comprehensive, updated, and contemporary sound. If we look deeper, we'd find many more alignments of Lebanon and Fairuz's ups and downs throughout their histories. Leaving all these coincidences aside, the real entanglement was never about timing or major events between these two. The fundamental link was always a spiritual one. Spiritual not in the religious sense, but more of a mental and emotional communion, a sharing of the souls. To this day, everyone loves Fairuz, the old who were once young, and the young who have forgotten to age. We all, to our very core, acknowledge and understand the beauty she is revealing, the beauty of her sentiments and connection towards her nation, simply admiring and appreciating its existence. Even when singing of love, longing, or heartache, topics that had no reference to her nation, Lebanon was still there, in her voice, in the air, in her expression, and ultimately seemed to be the real target of her affections. And we were there with her, through and through. Not because we experienced the same exact feelings and empathized. We all feel the same things as she does. We all love, we all laugh, and we all cry. We long and exude sadness, and we feel pride, joy, and happiness. But somehow, some way, Fairuz feels it more, and she is able to communicate through song like no other, with more authenticity, with more passion, and with much more soul. In the midst of the Lebanese Civil War, enemies ceased hostilities to accommodate Asi Rahbani, her ex-husband's funeral procession, to allow for Fairuz and her family to grieve. Even the complex and complicated socio-political factions within the Lebanese population that are continuously at odds with each other are unified in their adoration for her, regardless of their religion, political leanings, loyalties, or philosophies. The Lebanese people who stayed and endured were proud of her commitment to stay in their nation with them, regardless of turmoil. and to those who would become the Lebanese diaspora as well, would be connected to their nation through the power of her song. Arabs across the world would all willingly fall under her magical spell of innocence and eternal strength. Non-Arabic nations would go on to honor Fairuz for the selfless sharing of her artistic and humane soul. What more can one ask of an icon? She is the proverbial hero and inspiration when it comes to ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And now it's time for the Lebanese people and the Arabs, who have a powerful connection to Lebanon, to take on the mantle from Fairuz and hold the nation high, in the same way this songstress has done for many decades. And maybe in the same way she unified us in song and spirit, we might unify to resurrect Lebanon back to its rightful place of prosperity, to a time when it was the Garden of Light.